Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Peace in, peace in. Welcome to another edition of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm your host, Tony Ray Harvey, and we're broadcasting from the southwest part of Sacramento, Greenhaven Pocket area. Beautiful neighborhood, my neighborhood. Love it here. Um, Thanks for tuning in. Bless you all. Yes, it's been a while. The Sacramento Kings been on a 5 game road trip, but I have been extremely busy. And with some state capital stuff going down on at the state house, California State Capitol, and there was a sporting event that was happening here for about 4 or 5 days that concluded on March 30th, and that was the Women NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Enjoyed the days that I go. Did miss one day, one important day, because I had to see if my Fighting Illini could advance to the Final Four on the men's side, which they did. They will be playing UConn in that first game in Indianapolis, which is only, well, I can get there about an hour and a half from Champaign-Urbana, but, they're saying 2 hours. I guess they don't know, what speed that they can get there from Champaign-Urbana to Indianapolis, where the Final Four will be played. And yes, it will be another Big Ten team, Michigan, playing Arizona. But yes, did have a chance to watch the women's. It was beautiful from the time that I was there, which always, because I do appreciate covering women's sports, especially basketball. So when you get Don Staley from South Carolina coming in here, and Kara Lawson from Duke, because she started her career out here, her professional career out here, as a player. Now she's the coach of Duke. There's just nothing but good things that's going to happen. And it was good to have them here in the Sacramento space, because yes, we do know that Sacramento is a sports town, and those two coaches made that clear. Also want to give a shout out to Mark Campbell, who is the coach at TCU, Texas Christian University. He was the women coach at Sac State, Stingers up. Now he has advanced over there. He had took that team to two Elite Eights. One day he's going to get there. He's going to get that squad to the Final Four. But yes, he returned back to Sacramento, where he achieved, great success. And I wish him nothing but the best for his program. That's Mark Campbell. But y'all know why I'm here, so let's get right down into it. The Sacramento Kings, they end a 5 game road trip with a win over the Toronto Raptors, 123-115. 123-115. They lost their previous 4 games. To come back home, they played the New Orleans Pelicans on Friday, April 3rd at Golden One Center. So, if anything, for the longest road trip of the year, they did come back with a road win. So, but they still got a couple more road games before this final season. So I think they have 5 games left, and 3 of those games will be here in Golden One, starting with the Pelicans, and then they play Sunday. And then they play another game. They will play the Golden State Warriors on April 10th. Yes, April 10th. But they do have a couple more road games in there too, so we'll see, how they finish up their road trip. But at least they did that. But that kind of shakes things up here a little bit too, because the Utah Jazz is still 1 game behind the Kings. They lost tonight to the Denver Nuggets. They lost that game. What was that? 130-117. So there's going to be a little things going on here toward the finish line, trying to, jockey for a position, to get a good draft pick, at least a top 5 draft pick. Kings going to get something out this deal. This draft, as we all know, is deep, extremely deep. Extremely deep. They're going to get a good player, but I know they want to be in a position where they can at least get a shot at AJ DeBonsa, Cam Boozer, or Darren Peterson. At least that was the top 3, but that's even shaking out to be something else new. With the reports that I've been hearing, because now Darius Acuff, he's in the mix. Caleb Wilson is still in the mix. I do know what the Kings need going into this draft, but they can only get one, with that top 10 pick, at least top 5 picks. A point guard or another big man. point guard or another big man. So that's what general manager Scott Perry and his crew, Sacramento general manager Scott Perry and his crew, is going to have to figure out when we all find out about what the selection is going to be. And I think that's on Mother's Day in May. That's May 5th. Then you can figure out, where these players are going to fall at. But it is going to be interesting here, these next 5 games, of how the Kings, or where they fall as far as where they are placed. I think they were in 4th. So they were behind Washington. Let's see, they was behind Washington, the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets. And then, let's see here, we got this all pegged out here, folks. We got this all pegged out here as far as what's going on here. So we got to talk about that part. Let's see, on the Eastern Conference end, yes, okay. So the Washington Wizards, who are currently at 17-59, have a currently 17-59 record. The Brooklyn Nets have an 18-58 record, and the Indiana Pacers has an 18-58 record. So when you go over to the Sacramento, the Western Conference side, let me slow down. Okay, the Sacramento Kings are 20-57 on the season currently. All right, the Utah Jazz, who I mentioned, they lost again tonight. They fall to 21-56. 21-56. So the Kings are only like 1 game ahead of them. All right. And then you got the Dallas Mavericks on there. They're 3 games ahead of the Utah Jazz. So really it's going to come down to where the Utah Jazz and Sacramento Kings going to fall, in that bottom slot in the Western Conference. And those 3 teams that I just mentioned in the Eastern Conference. And right now, Washington Wizard has the best shot at getting the first pick. At least those 3 teams. Washington, the Nets, and Indiana. Well, definitely Washington. Definitely Washington. So they will have a 14.5 chance of landing the number 1 spot. Okay. The number 1 spot. The other one, they still have a shot at it, but not as great a shot as the Washington Wizards. But some of these teams are going to be playing, a couple of these teams are going to be, including the Kings, they're going to be playing each other. So there's going to have to be a loss here, a loss there. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. And that's basically how it's going to go. We won't know until all this thing fall out. But the Kings did win again tonight, okay, after suffering a 4-game losing streak on the road. Now they get to come back and play the Pelicans. And then, I think their last game of the season will be the Portland Trailblazers, which seems to be every season for the last few years. They finished up their season playing in Portland. I don't know because, they're close in proximity. That could be it. Whatever the deal is, that's who they're going to play. So getting back to tonight, DeMar DeRozan had a big night, as well as Precious Achiuwa. So DeMar DeRozan, he delivers a mammoth performance with 28 points, 26 scored in the second half to help the Sacramento Kings thump Toronto Raptors 123-115. Brandon Ingram did not play in that game. Toronto really needed that game to stay ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers. So which that loss did drop them back to 7th place. They were in 6th place. Dropped the Raptors back to 7th place, and Philly moves up momentarily to the 6th spot. The Raptors needed that win more than the Kings did, to be exact. The Kings needed to, at least get a win on the road, understandably. But with this situation and, the way this thing, shaking out as far as, NBA draft lottery position, hey, you win, you lose. That's the way I see it with them. Now, DeRozan, who missed his first 8 shots from the field in the first half, and he only had 2 points. He had 2 points in the first half. He made 7 of 18 shots from the field, 2 of 4 from 3-point distance, and all 12 attempts from the foul line, and 35 minutes for the Kings. The Kings are now 20-57 on the season, and they are 7-32 on the road. And once again, they won their first and last game on the road trip. Precious Achiuwa. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about Precious Achiuwa. Of course, the Kings can definitely use his services starting next season. But he's only on a 1-year contract. So There may be some other teams looking at him, and there may be some other team that throw some money at him. Okay, the Kings have to see what type of money that they can throw out, but we do have a problem with those 3 big contracts between Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. And we could throw in Malik Monk, but I don't consider him, to be impactful as the other 3. I think he's going to be making $20 million starting next season. And last year's contract, he's going to be making $21 million. Definitely need to bring him back here. Definitely need to bring Malik back here. But you definitely need to try to bring back Precious Achiuwa. Okay? This is not another situation like Jake LaRavia, who plays for the Lakers right now, okay? Because the Kings could only offer him so much because of his contract that they inherited from the Memphis Grizzlies. All right? They could not offer him over $5 million. So yes, I'm about to get married too. I need some extra, I need some extra cheese. That's what Jake LaRavia is saying. He signed with the Lakers. In this case, with Precious, he could make $5, $6, $8 million, for the next 2 years. And I'm saying $8 million per, up to $8 million per. But that's just me throwing out figures like that. The Kings have to see where they are first with this draft, see if they can move any of these high-paying players, and go from there. There might even be a trade, another signing of a free agent. All these things come into play with Precious, but I know Scott Perry and his staff is trying to work out some way to keep that man here because he plays well in the type of system that Scott Perry wants with his 6 pillars and their standards. He is one of them, as well as Daeqwon Ploden. I do hope they bring Daeqwon. He earned it because he can play. He can mix it in with everybody. Doug already told him, hey, you an NBA player. He's here for a reason. He's an NBA player. So just throughout the fact that he's 27 years old, because yes, he is 27 years old, but he's seasoned. He can be extremely helpful going into next season because he's a two-way player. He can definitely play defense. He's strong as an ox as well as the rest of them, like Precious Achiuwa. He can hit a big basket at any moment that we're finding out, especially when it's on the line, when the game is on the line. Daeqwon is there for that. He's there for that. All right. Okay, yeah. And by the way, DeMar DeRozan did pass Dominique Wilkins on the all-time scoring list. All right, he keeps climbing on, just descending on way up the ladder. I love that part. Well, it's kind of interesting too because they did need to stop this streak, which I'm okay with too. Okay, but if they lost, hey, But if you play with effort, you're not getting blown out. I'm cool with that. All right. I don't think anybody was talking that ish about DeMar being on the floor for 35 minutes tonight. Okay. As we've been hearing here and there, throughout the season. All right. And I do understand we do want those younger players to get as much time on the floor. Russell did not play tonight, of course. All right. Maxime Renault, he did not have a good game tonight. All right. He was due for one. I don't expect that to continue for the next 5 games. All right. But they did need the services of DeMar DeRozan, despite what happened to him in that first half of that game against the Raptors. As I said, the Raptors were without Brandon Ingram, and they were playing on the second game of a back-to-back. But that doesn't matter anyway. You got to get those wins. So, yeah, that's, I'll just stop right there, as far as recapping the game. Some other things that I did want to say that I did take some notes. All right, we did talk about the NCAA women's tourney. All right, okay, yes. Now, I don't know what the Kings going to do, but I do know one thing as far as the draft. All right. I always watch these things season after season to see, how these players on the collegiate level, how they're going to pan out, during the tourney, because there's a lot of pressure to win. I mean, one game, you out. You got 6 games to win the Final Four. 6. 6 straight. 6 straight. My Fighting Illini has won 4, as well as the other 3 teams who are in the Final Four. So they got 2 more games to claim, the ultimate title. I do know for Illinois, my Fighting Illini, Keaton Wagler has stepped up to the plate. He has stepped up to the plate for the Fighting Illini. Of course, he had 25 points in that game, in that win over Iowa to get to the Final Four. All right. David Merkovich, the other freshman, been throwing down. I think he had 9 points and 12 rebounds. All of that. The Isevich brothers, that whole Balkan wall. All right. Everybody done stepped up. But Keaton Wagler, I know he's in the top 10. Anything could happen. Especially when you see what happened in these next 2 games. All right, he's proven his worth. He's only a freshman. He's only 19 years old from Shawnee Mission, Kansas, which is in the suburbs of Kansas City. All right, he is a Fighting Illini for life after the season. There's no way he's coming back to Illinois after this. And there's no reason he should come back to Illinois. All right, I am putting him around that 5 or 6 range as far as those picks. But as I said before, I do not want him coming to Sacramento to be a King. I don't. I don't. So I hope he's not on the board when the Kings are picked. And I'm just sorry to say that. Maybe a couple of years ago I say, yeah, hey, get him. He's in the line. Get him, bring him in. But no. And the reason why I say that too, because I'm going to give General Manager Scott Perry enough time, to clean up the mess in aisle 20. And when I say aisle 20s, I mean what's been going on here for the last 20 years. All right. But if he is on the board, let's just say that. And they perhaps picked this young man, Wagler, who's about 6'6", 180, 185 pounds, and he's still got to work on his body and things like that. He's a king. There's nothing I can say about it. He's a king. But the Kings do know that those other players that are ahead of him, are quality players as well that could come in and help this team too. And I'm not even dismissing, Acuff or Kingston Fleming, because I do like Kingston Fleming as well. Okay, they're worthy of it too. All right, they prove their worth. And all these guys are freshmen that I'm talking about. But Keaton Wagler, I was thinking, if you start looking at these things, with Ploden, Precious Achiuwa, Maxime Renault, all right, I could see a situation where Keaton could come to Sacramento and play alongside somebody like a Nick Clifford because of their skill levels and the type of personnel that General Manager Scott Perry wants. All right. Both of these guys, 6'6", 6'7", okay, in the backcourt. And they have high IQs and they're playmakers. Yes, we know Keaton can shoot that rock. Okay. He can shoot from the logo. Nick can shoot from the logo too. And that's really the only thing that I need to see from him is to hit those threes on a consistent basis. But they're playmakers. They can get it set up and they can handle that ball. I could see a situation like that, but don't want to get too far into that, but I'm just thinking about that, because really a Kingston Fleming can come in and play alongside somebody like a Nick Clifford. Yes. Or Acuff. Yes. Yeah. And maybe having Malik Monk and Russell Westbrook, coming off the bench. Them two you need to help these rookies get to where, to help these young players get, because Nika will be a second-year player, to help these type of players, get to the next level. And I'm not talking about Keaton Wagler. I'm talking about any of those guards that they get, okay? Unless they, by a chance, get a Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson. That's cool, too. But my thing is, I would like to see Keaton Wagler in another uniform, but somehow he just falls in the lap of the Sacramento Kings. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. Have my ultimate respect on that. But I do not want him coming here. Oh, no. too much losing going on right now. There's too much stuff to clean up, which I'm sure that Scott Perry is going to do his due diligence and make sure all of that happened. That's cool. But that's just me talking. All right. Your old Precious. Precious had what, 11, 12 offensive rebounds out of those 19 rebounds that he had? This is one thing that I was paying attention to before I signed off. I just wanted to mention that because Henry Turner always talk about Precious Achiuwa on the KHT 1140 radio show with Scott Marsh, the pregame show. Precious, they don't call any plays for Precious. He just go in there and get what he need, all right? And he makes the right decision in doing so. And I like the way Henry put that. He's been on the road with him on this 5-game road trip, and he's been a great insider, too. That's what I like about Henry, because he knows the game. He knows the field, as far as being a player and what they're going through. And he don't say anything more than what he needs to say about reporting back with the team, what people need, all right? We can sit here at home behind these mics and say this and say that, but we don't really know what's happening on that road, okay? Only they do, people like Henry, okay, G-Man, and those beat writers, Jason Anderson and Chris Biederman. That's it. That's it. But when you hear it coming from Henry Turner, oh, it's real. Pay attention. Pay attention. Hey, I want to thank you for stopping in for another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm your host, Tony Ray Harvey. All right. We will be back soon. The Kings do play here on Friday, April 3rd against the New Orleans Pelicans. I doubt if I, break in, with a podcast, but I will be back. In the meantime, peace, love, and solidarity. I'm out.